I'm going to show you how to stop playing the same repetitive, routine, tired stuff on the bass. We've all been here. We all get stuck in ruts, and there's a solution. It's called options. If you don't have options, you're going to play the same stuff. You're going to get stuck. You won't see outside of what you know. So I'm going to start by sharing an idea, a really basic idea, but a powerful idea nonetheless. Let me adjust my camera here a little bit. And I want to talk about a concept that some of you may or may not know or have heard of. Maybe you've heard people talk about it and you never really understood what it was all about. And that is the idea of relative major, relative minor. You may have heard somebody say that in a band context or something and thought, what do you mean? I'm just gonna play the roots here, guys. Like, leave me out of this discussion. And so I'm gonna talk about that because this is an option. This is an example of an option that can get you out of playing the same and seeing, you know, things the same way all the time, and going to that go-to line that you just play again and again and again. So let me demonstrate here. Let me show you first of all what the relationship is and how to use it. Okay, so I'm going to play in C here because it's you know, no sharps or flats. So I'm just going to play a really simple C idea. Okay, and say, oh, and look at how can I use the relative minor to maybe add something to that, or change the way I've approached that. And so to find this, the relative minor of that major, okay, so I'm basically playing a major chord I'm supporting a major chord here. So to find its relative minor, I take the root of that major chord and I find the major sixth from that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the A. You can see. Or I can go 8, 7. It's the 6, okay? And you can play, you know, the minor chord tones on that. And what you'll notice if you play those two triads, okay, like the C major triad, A minor triad, that they share these two notes in common. They share the C and the E in common. So these have a relationship to each other. That's why they're called. So if somebody says play the relative minor, if somebody ever said play the relative minor of C, well, you'd find C and you'd go, oh, okay, well, play off the 6. Play minor, you know, your minor sounds. Support the minor chord on that. And so we can use these sort of interchangeably. We can start seeing the C major chord and see an option of like, well, I can play C major and A minor, and kind of jump back and forth between that sort of way of thinking, right? So I'm kind of just bouncing between, I'm sort of just playing off of these two, what was before kind of like, oh, I'm just playing in C. In my head, I'm thinking I'm kind of playing a bit of C major here, and I'm moving over to like kind of like C minor, and blending them together, interchanging them, and all of a sudden I have like more, like a different frame of reference. Same thing goes for, you know, if you're playing in minor. You know, like you may have this like tendency to go to the same minor lick, you know, like I don't know. You guys know the licks that you play over and over and over again, but you might have them glued in your head as like, oh yeah, it's my A. That's how I play my A minor. You can do the same thing. You might say, well, I'm gonna start maybe playing that line in C major instead. You know, like you know, you might bounce back and forth. Start on the C, go to the A, go from the A to the C major, and so in your head, you've all of a sudden opened up like new channels of options and ideas, and now and now what you'll start to see is like all those cool like minor licks that you learned. Guess what? You can play them over. You can play them over that major chord. Okay? If you have like a really cool like lick, guess what? You can play that minor lick and just, land on the relative major. Resolve it to the relative major instead of the minor. I shouldn't say resolve it to, but for example, let me show you like a really cliche kind of a line that you might see in minor playing. You see this all the time. You've seen that in a million kind of bluesy, rocky kind of things, but see, I landed on the C instead of the A there. So all of those like minor licks, you can play them over major chords if you position them properly. Same goes for all those tasty like major ideas that you have. They can all work over that minor sound. I'm trying to think of like a, let me see here. That's all. These things are like related to each other. Like all those licks, you can. They stop thinking about. Break out of that way of seeing like your, major and minor chords. When you have to play a major and minor chord, think, oh, though I have this other option. Have I tried, or have I maybe looked at how I can play around in that and mix it with this relative chord? This kind of way of changing the way you approach can break you out of playing the same old tired like stuff. I'm telling you. If you want more of this, I'm going to look at doing some videos around, other kind of like what I'd call like alternative options and substitutions, just to open your eyes a little bit to what possibilities are there. Anyways, if you like this, let me know. If you want to see more, let me know. If you don't like this, I'll probably just ignore the comment. But yeah, stay cool, everybody.